Hello and welcome back to the Pet Business Wellbeing Podcast with me, Nathan Dunleavy. This is the podcast where we talk about the realities of running a pet business, the highs, the challenges, and most importantly, how to look after your well-being whilst you do it. Because running a business should support your life, not consume it. Hello everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I've got an extra special guest with me today. Helen Motteram, welcome to the Pet Business Wellbeing Podcast. How are you doing?
I'm good, Nathan. Thanks for inviting me along.
Oh, you're most welcome. I'm glad you're okay. So, before we kick off, for anyone who doesn't know you, please could you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Helen Motteram. I am a pet behaviourist. So I work with anxious dogs and rescue birds. I'm also a business coach. So my niche is helping you with your niche and passion and work-life balance. And I also run a rescue for birds. So many people call me the crazy crew lady. So I've got a lot going on, but I've still got a great balance considering.
Yeah, you do have a lot going on actually, because obviously you've got Pet Professional Network, PPN, which is your business support group for pet professionals, and you wear a lot of hats, a bit like me, but you seem to have the balance right. So I'm really excited because we're going to be chatting all about work-life balance as a pet business owner today. So Helen, you're known in the pet industry as the queen of the default diary. Do love a default diary. And for very good reason. You've helped so many pet professionals find structure, calm, and actual breathing room in their week. So, to kick us off, could you share why work life balance is such a challenge for pet pros and what you're seeing happen behind the scenes for when people don't quite have that structure in place, please?
I think when we first start our business off, we just want to please everyone and get as much business through the door, help as many pet guardians and obviously earn a good amount of money. So we kind of got this worry where we're like, got to do all this work online marketing, answering the phone. And yeah, when you do first set up your business, I'm going to put my hands up. It is more busier than I would say now because you've got to make the time to build the business. But I would say when you're starting a pet business, try to focus on something that you're passionate about, a niche, and try and look at your skill set because you really can't help everyone. And it's finding that kind of balance between, the life outside work and the life within work. And I admit it, when I first started Social Pause, I did everything. I rarely got any time to see my husband, Tristan, let alone my birds. So something really had to stop. And then when I was getting home at night, I was just burying myself under social media and just, hiding away. And it really didn't work out. So with creating that balance, first of all, I would look at your typical working week. So I've got something called the default diary, which Nathan talked about. That is like a templated diary. So it's like your ideal week where you've got slots for, say, your trainer sessions, slots for, I don't know, fitness and exercise, and slots for that pesky admin. And we often forget about that. So we could be like working 10 till 4 and then coming home and got 3 hours admin to do. So we've got to slot those slots around the other slots and make it work for you. So my bit of advice would be to go back, look at what kind of working week you want to strive for and the how many in terms of the money as well. It might be that you need to put your prices up or look at the services and maybe the length of them or the type of services you're doing.
Yeah, so with the default diary, then you put in there all your business appointments, so your working appointments. You can put in your personal appointments, so if you're going to the gym, if you're going for a massage. So how important, Helen, is it to prioritize those personal appointments as well as those business appointments?
Yeah, because like we're the heart behind the business. And imagine if we just work day in, day out, we're going to get burnt out. We're going to get tired. So if you look after yourself, you'll actually become much better in your business. You'll feel, much more passionate about it, much more happier. And I've done it before where I've overworked myself and then I ended up getting ill and then I had to take like 4 weeks off work. So I actually lost more money But I think this is the major people think worry about. They think, oh, taking a bit of time off or having that extra half an hour break is going to make you lose money. But actually, in the long term, you lose more money when you do become ill. So it is really important to have those breaks so you can continue going, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm a big advocate in that those personal appointments should be non-negotiable, like your business appointments. So you wouldn't cancel on a client. So why would you cancel on yourself?
Exactly. Yeah. And, I've got on the Wednesday, I have a slot for my mum. So I call it Mum Wednesday.
Yes, you do. I'm
Yeah.
glad you've mentioned that because I was going to bring that up. So yeah, please tell us because it's Mum and Daughter Day Wednesday. So how did that come about then, and why is that so important to you, Helen?
Yeah. So I've always, loved meeting up with family and everything. But before COVID struck, I did see my mum, but maybe it was every 3 weeks. And she became very, very ill during COVID. And it kind of was just a wake up call for me that she's not going to be on this planet, for many, many years. And I've got to really appreciate the time I have with her. So I've got a designated day and a time that it's always in my diary, and we meet. It's currently on Wednesdays, and we do 12 till 2, and we just go to our local pub and we have lunch together. And each week we alternate it. So she'll pay one week and I'll pay the other, which is really sweet. And in the summer,
Oh,
we sort of go out for a walk. It's a bit miserable at the moment. That's why we've chosen to sort of pop in the pub. But clients say, oh, Helen, can I have that slot 12 o'clock on a Wednesday? And I said, no, sadly not, because it's non-negotiable. That slot's with my mum.
mm.
So that's really important to me.
Yeah, and it's blocked out in your diary and you're managing the client's expectations. So I just think it's so important to allow that time for your family, isn't it?
Sure. Definitely. Yeah. And again, it might be that in the evenings you spend time with your family. So I do some social media. I have like late night social media, but other nights I wouldn't do any social media. So it depends on the days and the flexibility. But if you're someone who wants to spend your evenings with your family, then don't go booking a consultation at 6 p.m. because you won't be able to spend time with your family. So I tend to do my consults and my appointments between 12 and 4. They're the times that work for me. I'm not very good first thing in the morning. It takes me like a couple of hours to really get going. And then later,
And me.
yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Especially in the winter. But I just like,
Yeah, the wind as well.
yeah, and it is hard sometimes because some people might only have those slots available early or late, but you've really got to make it work for you. And that comes down to the type of clients you have. So if you have a client that's got a family, they're most likely going to be available in the evenings. So you do have to think about
Mm.
the typical client you got. And mine are most self-employed and they do shifts. So they're pretty flexible as well. So that works with both of us.
Yeah, and I remember when I was doing some work with you, people were like getting a bit bogged down that they were working loads of evenings and weekends. But basically, you said that you can attract the type of clients that you want to work with. So if you only want to do one evening a week or one weekend a month, you will find those clients. Because I think we, as we get, when, like you said, when you first get started up, you just take on everything, don't you? But you will eventually attract those ideal clients, won't you?
100%. Yeah. And it does take time. I mean, when I first started Social Pause, it took me a good 6 months to build it up. I was quite lucky because I was a big collaborator back then. I still am. But Facebook wasn't really that big back then. So it was all about getting out in the local community, which I absolutely love doing. So I got full pretty quick, to be honest. But then I had to go back and rejig things because yeah, I mean, some days I was doing 10 solo dog walks a day. And
Oh,
that was,
wow, that's a lot.
yeah. And it was really good money. And I was before the times anyone did training walks or solo walks, but I always have done those. And I remember just one day thinking, I'm just tired. I'm tired. Like it was from one reactive dog to the next. And I
Mm.
felt that I was losing that energy and I wasn't able to serve the dogs as well. So then I reduced it down. I think it got down to 4 dogs a day, which is still quite a lot. And then I reduced it down to certain days. So then I could then do my behavioral work with the clients on the other days. So I had train and walk days and training session days with the clients, which worked really well for me.
Brilliant. And obviously, we're self-employed for a reason, so we get to pick the type of people that we work with, the type of clients, the colleagues we collaborate with, and really, we should be able to pick the hours that we work. I'd be interested to know, what does a typical week look like from your default diary? I know you said you don't like working mornings, so you tend to do more working in the afternoons.
Yeah, so it has changed a lot. So what I used to have is quite a rigid day. It was sort of 10 till 3, and that worked for me. But now I have a longer day and I have longer breaks. So actually, I get all my social media done in the morning. I am an early bird, but I'm not like someone who wants to go out the house. So I do my social media between, it usually takes me a couple of hours because I've got a lot of social media to do. So usually between 7 and 9 is my social media. Then I do a bit of my rescue work. So clean out the birds, feed them. Then I'll tend to have like 3 hour lunch breaks, which sounds crazy, but I need it. And then I usually have a client slot in the afternoon. So I do two max seeing clients. Then I'll have a little bit of a break and then I'll do my end of day stuff. So it's not a mad day. Some days I don't have in-person clients and then I focus on my online stuff. I have kind of an admin day during the week and then I have
Yeah.
like more of an online day and then I have an in-person day. But it is trying to find the right balance because over the years I have looked at it and found that actually I like to work long days now, but get longer breaks in the
Okay.
midday, and that works for me as well.
Yeah, it's all about what works for you, isn't it, and your circumstances. Mm, yeah, I'd be, and you're quite, I don't want to say strict, but you're quite rigid with your structure, aren't you? So you have your set times, and that's the times that you stick to. Otherwise, if you kind of don't stick to it, it doesn't kind of work, does it?
Yeah, so I am really strict on emails. I tend to not answer emails after a certain time, and I wouldn't really answer them before 9 just because I'm just tired. Again, with my behavioral sessions, I'm pretty strict with those. The nature of Facebook, that's the only thing that, I struggle with because I'm on Facebook for social and business. My messenger
Mm,
pops up all the time, and sometimes it might be a social message.
yeah.
And Nathan popped up the other night, you just say, "Hi, messenger." And I was like, "Oh my days, I didn't talk about this and I'm not going by my rules." But that's the problem with Facebook. So some evenings, actually, I put my phone in the other bedroom if I really want to switch off. There might be some evenings that Tristan's playing his computer game upstairs, and I might go on Facebook more for social reasons. But I do try and ask my pet guardian clients not to message me on Facebook. I ask them to only do it via email. The reason being is because I
Mm,
lose track. I put a post out today because I started doing a bit of pet sitting again. And I've had 5 people message me on Facebook, and I specifically said, please email me.
said,
Yeah, it's because you
I,
can't keep
I
up.
find people don't, I find people don't read stuff though.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
I like it all on
So,
text, and
yeah.
I do find via email now, a lot of people are starting to not read emails and miss emails. Um, And I find it quite concerning because there was a couple of companies I reached out to recently and I didn't get a
Right.
response. I emailed them again. I thought, oh, like I do try
Oh,
and answer my emails within a certain amount of time. And I know emails get,
same.
it is, I do think a lot of people aren't looking at emails as much, which is crazy. I think more phones,
So,
text and messenger. Like I have like businesses texting me now and I'm like, hang on a minute, when did that happen? Crazy.
right. So, just going to your point about just directing people just to email, this is important factor really because there's so many forms of communication now.
Yeah.
There's Messenger, there's WhatsApp,
Yeah.
Instagram Messenger, text messages, phone calls, emails. It's so important that you
Yeah.
kind of have one channel that everything's directed to, isn't it? So it's all in one place.
Yeah, but I suppose the problem with that, there are people who don't use email and there are people who are on Facebook. So sometimes you have to break that rule, which I don't like doing, but mainly it's emails only. And then for my rescue work, I ask them to send me a text message just because it's easier for me to text back and say so they can pick up the bird if I'm available. And again, with my
Yeah.
rescue work, it is longer hours, but I do have a cut-off point. Someone rang me at 8:30 last night, but I didn't answer the call because I was already, so you do have to be mindful as well to
Important.
put those times in place and those boundaries.
Yeah, we'll come on to boundaries in a bit, actually. We'll touch on that because I did do an episode recently on boundaries with Dr. Holly Tett. But with the Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, and WhatsApp, I have an auto response message that fires back to them and says, "We've got your message, but please could you email instead?"
They,
And a lot of people do then follow up with an email. But if they don't, I then just say, "Please, can you email as per the
yeah,
message?"
yeah,
And a lot of them will, and then some of them don't. But then I think, well, they're clearly not that serious about wanting my help or wanting to work with me if they just
yeah,
can't follow a simple instruction. But because obviously we're dog walkers as well, we're out during the day, like dog walking, so we can't even take phone calls really. So we say the same, like, please drop us an email. Everything's in one place, and we've got an audit trail, and we can respond to that. But it's important to use these business tools on these apps, isn't it? Like for auto
lit-
messages or just a greeting message to say your message has been received. I know a lot of people have out of offices on their emails. So, like, I know some companies that I've emailed recently, you say that some of them have sent a reply saying their SLA, service level agreement, is 5 working days or 2 working days, and they're really hot on work life balance. So, there's things that you can incorporate, isn't it? Like out of office
yeah.
messages and business tools like that.
Yeah, so like with the Pet Professional Network, we do have an out of the office email when I'm away on holiday, and then I have people who are sitting in for me. So I really do recommend that if you can get a virtual assistant or someone who can, if you need to, if there's emails that need answering when you're away. But what me and Tristan do with Social Pause is we send them not one, not two, not three, but 4 reminders of our holidays. And Tristan will remind them when he goes in and sees the dogs, just because you always get that odd person. Oh, you coming to walk Fido today? And you're like, oh, I'm on holiday. And actually, it works really well. We give them lots of notice. But for the online stuff I do, the online world, it's hard to kind of have a break sometimes because it keeps going. So with that, I do have a small team that help me with that, which is really helpful.
Yeah, that's good. And can I just go back to the default diary as well? Am I right in thinking, or you used to have one for different seasons? So it might be that your winter default diary is different to your summer diary. Can you just explain how that would work?
Yeah, so it's winter at the moment and it's quite challenging with the darker evenings. So if Tristan's doing his walks, he sometimes has to make them a bit earlier in the summer months, unless the guardians don't mind him taking them out when it's a little bit dark. And also in the mornings, we have to be mindful, and the weather as well. We usually do get snow in February, so we have to be mindful of that. And it is really rainy at the moment. So a lot of dogs don't like training in the rain. The anxious ones, they don't like it. So my default diary does change from the summer and the winter. So it might be we need to alter those times slightly. The Gale is just templated. It's very simple. I'm quite, old and prehistoric that way. I have it on Excel. I have a templated default diary, and then I replicate it now on my Google Diary on my phone. So Tristan can see 12 till 1, Helen's got a
Mm.
consultation slot, and then he won't book in a stooge slot. And then we've got stooge slot sessions. With Tristan needs to book me in. And likewise with Tristan, he's got his main walking sessions. If I don't go to Tristan, I'll come out and do a stooge slot with me. So yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And let's talk about the importance of taking a break then, Helen. Like you and I are very good at this, so I'll talk about what I do. But you do take your breaks, but you take a break month in October. Do you want to just
Yeah.
tell us the importance of having a break?
Yeah, so I used to take like the odd day or two breaks, but I found actually what's really good for me is taking an extended break. So that is usually in October, it's changing to November. So I meet up with my festival family
Oh,
friends. So we usually go to Ibiza in October, and then I usually go somewhere else with my family. The reason I go out in October is just because it's a quieter time in the month for me and the birds. I don't do a lot of rescue work in October. So we met up in a festival and we're called the Festival Family. So there's like 60 of us. So we go away every year and we're choosing to go away in November. Now, it is really hard to have an
Mm.
extended break because, again, you've got to have a team involved. So I have people like
Mhm.
Rachel Spencer. She helps me with I have like takeover weeks, which are really cool.
Yeah.
And again, I have virtual assistants. I have Tristan helps me out if I'm going away without him. Something I learned also, another sort of business coach, and he would take really extended breaks, but he would completely switch off and then he would come back and really revitalize. And then throughout the year, I'll take mini breaks. So these are like long weekends. So I'll have that main month and then just these mini breaks. And that works for me. But you do need to put a pot of money aside because obviously taking that break in October or November, I'm going to lose money. But so the other months, I need to be storing up a little pot and kind of, unless you're doing online stuff. But remember, even if, they call it a passive income, it's not really passive because you do still have to keep working on the online stuff. It's not, you can just switch off. So just remember that if you're thinking, oh, I'm going to make like an online membership or something, you do still need to work in the background to build.
Yeah, definitely. And with me, so I take 1 week off every 3 months, and I'm quite strict with that. Yeah, so I take a week off every 3 months, and we may go away or we may stay in the UK. Obviously, we're in the UK at the moment, coming towards the end of January, so it is quite grim and cold and wet and windy. So we had some time away in November to a nice warm country and some time off at the end of February. But yeah, I then say to my mentees as well, just schedule that in as well. Like try and take a week off every 3 months, and then your bookings will work around it. Like don't like worry about obviously not having bookings that week because people will know that you're off, and you'll get bookings in around those dates. And yeah, just manage customers' expectations. Let them know in advance when you're off. Communication's important.
Yeah,
But yeah, it is important. Like you're running a business, so self-employed. It's so important to have some downtime and have a proper break, isn't it?
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. You definitely need those breaks and you feel back, you come back feeling great about it as well. Well,
Crashed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Me.
So your admin days recently changed. Can you just tell me, if you don't mind, like the rationale behind that as well?
Yeah. So my admin day is now really on a Tuesday. So
Mm.
I think that growing up, I was always told Monday to Friday, a working week. And I always dreamt of a working week having Mondays and Fridays off. I do have a half day on Fridays, which is great. And on Mondays,
Yeah.
that's kind of my day off now. I find that I'm
Oh,
very,
that's good.
yeah. So at the weekend, I find that I'm not busy because I'm not working, but I do a lot of social things. And then I'm kind of in that mindset. You go straight back into it on Monday. So I thought if I take more of a break on Monday, then on Tuesday I can get back into it. And it just shifts that mindset. It's just another thing. Growing up, it was always the dreaded Monday. But yeah, that
Yeah.
kind of works for me. It might change, but at the moment, the half day Friday and then more of a break day on Monday. I take Saturday completely off. And then Sunday, I do a bit of business building between sort of 2 and 5 p.m. in the afternoons, which works for me really well.
No, it's great. I do love how you work your week, and it's important as a business owner to have flexibility as well. And we go on, well, we talk in this podcast about obviously our well-being, our business well-being. And if you don't look after yourself, you won't be able to be the best version for your clients and their pets. So, you wouldn't run a car on an empty tank. So you shouldn't run yourself down to the ground, because potentially it's your clients that are going to suffer, and your clients will respect you more for having that downtime and taking a break, won't they?
Certainly 100%. And yeah, they will understand your clients as long as you give them notice, communication. And we have a lovely lady that fills in for us actually when we go away now. So, because Tristan does have a couple of clients who really do struggle for dog walkers when he goes away. And so the lovely Alison does pick up a few slots for us, which is really great.
And that comes back to that whole collaboration piece, doesn't it? As making sure you've got a support network in place.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really big on collaboration over competition and community over competition, as you know. Feel like you.
I put a post on the notice board today about doing a bit of pet sitting, and they popped up who I haven't spoken to for about, I don't know, 5 years. Like a really well known dog walker in Cheltenham, really amazing dog walker. And she just popped up. She goes, "Oh, that's amazing." She said, "I don't do cat visits or pet sitting, so I'm going to recommend you now." And she just sent me a friend request. So I've never really connected to her as a friend, but I've always seen her in the business background. So it's just another person to cross refer to now. And I'm like quite honoured that she said, "Oh, I'm really happy to refer to you." So that's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, I love that. It's important to have people to refer to you because it might be a service that you don't do or they don't do. And like you say, when Tristan's away, you've got cover for your clients. Yeah, I'm really big on sort of collaboration. And I have mentioned in this podcast before, I'm not sure if you've heard it. I don't know someone more collaborative than you, Helen, especially with
Yeah.
Pet Professional Network. You allow other business coaches and mentors to be in your group. You welcome them with open arms. You allow them to do takeover weeks, myself and Rachel and Carly, and you allow us to do webinars, and obviously we can be affiliates and post in your group. I just don't know anyone as collaborative as you, and we could all take a leaf out of your book.
Yeah, I think I've always been like it growing up. My dad always taught me to be like that. And I've seen it just such as a positive thing. When I started my business journey, I remember posting on a local Facebook group saying, "Hey everyone, I'm starting up my own dog walking pet care business. I'm just thinking about some different names." And then there was one person that popped up and went, "Oh, there's enough dog walkers." And I was like, wow. I was like,
Yeah.
"That's nice of you. Oh, we don't need any more." And I just thought, wow. But obviously they felt threatened, didn't they, that another dog
Yes.
was coming in. But I was completely unique because I was doing the solo training walks, which no one else was doing in Cheltenham. So
Yeah.
if only they'd reached out to me, we could have cross-referred. So I was getting lots of people asking for group walks. I was like, "I don't do that." So,
Mm.
but in the end, this lovely lady, I went to the local village fete with a couple of my clients' dogs, and she was doing some free photo shoots. So we did a little mini one with Bram the
Mm.
Juniper. She was a dog
Mm.
photographer. I started following her on social media. And then she goes, "Oh, I didn't realize you were a dog walker as well." I went, "Yeah, I just do solo walks." She said, "Oh, thank goodness." She said, "I'm a group dog walker." And I said, "I've got no one to refer my clients to." And she referred me 15 clients. So I was just like crazy. I couldn't take them all on, but I was like, oh my
Mm.
days, what? That's just fantastic. So it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think I'm so collaborative because when I started out as a dog walker 8 years ago, I used to just do the solo walks and for the dogs that were more spicy. But I didn't have a good experience. The other dog walkers in the area, again, they see you as a bit of a threat, the new kid on the block. But obviously, I was getting clients past me because no one else would do solo walks. They'd only do groups. And it gave me such a really good understanding of like dogs being reactive and nervous and sensitive, and gave me such a strong foundation and handling those dogs. But yeah, it wasn't very nice. There was a couple of WhatsApp groups that was very toxic. I was added to them both, and then one was set up in protest against the other one, and there was all this bitchiness. And even to this day, unfortunately, I don't really speak to many dog walkers in my area. I speak to them more
Yeah.
nationally and further afield, and it's wild because obviously I'm the dog walking business mentor, and I now help other dog walkers set
Yeah.
up their businesses. But the local dog walkers in my area, I just keep myself to myself now, and I don't have nothing to do with them because I just don't want the drama.
That's a shame. Yeah. 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 I
I
mean,
think that's why I'm so collaborative now
yeah.
with everything else that I do.
Yeah, yeah, there'll always be those people who just don't wanna help. Sometimes you just gotta, yeah, just stay clear of them really, isn't it? And find your cheerleaders really.
Find your cheerleaders. I love that. So let's quickly touch on boundaries then. I think it's important at the outset to set those boundaries with your customers or your clients, isn't it? Or even colleagues, because, if you're sat at home and you finish work at 7 o'clock, if someone messages you at 8 o'clock that night, it's important to stick to that boundary. We were chatting on a podcast the other day and we were saying like how it was really quiet. There was nothing on Netflix. And then someone replied to their client at 10 o'clock at night, and there was back and forth on this messenger.
Yeah.
But then a week later, the client then messaged again at 10 o'clock. And because the person didn't reply, they got really shitty because obviously they'd become used to that.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, it's important to name that one occurrence and say, yeah, that was a one-off.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's important to stick to your boundaries, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, on the odd occasion, if I have answered an email late at night, it, could be that I'm working late. I have kind of put in brackets, these are my usual working hours. So unfortunately, in the future, if you do email after 6 p.m., I will usually pick it up in the morning. And when I do meet new clients, I do say, look, we have a check-in on Mondays. Monday is a check-in day. I check in at 9 a.m. I deliver a response by midday if possible. If you respond the next day, it will be a slower response from me. And then I tell them my working hours as well. So 'cause I once had this lady and she had a really problematic dog and she was ringing me all night and crying. And it was a dreadful situation, but I sadly had to let them go in the end because it wasn't, it was just too much for me. It's almost became like a counsellor, which obviously I'm not a counsellor. I don't have those qualifications.
No.
And I said in the end, look, you're going to have to ring the vet and have a chat to them. You can't, and it was getting really bad. So I'm quite strict on that, where I say, the check-ins and the times. And like you said, if you do email them back, you're going to reinforce that behavior. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I'll email back and email back because
The
yeah,
thing.
that's what they expect of you. So we all have different working hours. There's a great app called Boomerang. So if, say, I sometimes take working holidays and then I realize, it's completely different time zone, especially in Cyprus because it's 2 hours ahead. And I feel a bit rude emailing people before sort of,
Yeah.
yeah. So the app allows you to send it at that time, which is really cool. I think you have to pay for the app now.
Yeah.
But yeah, be mindful of those time zones, because I had an Australian client and she would message me at 1 a.m. And I said, you're very welcome to message me, but you won't get a response at 1 a.m. She completely understood. So life does get a bit strange when I do have working holidays, especially if you go to somewhere like America, because it's all, yeah, you're like, oh, I don't even know what time it is.
Yeah,
So
they're quite far behind. Yeah.
so
Or we are. I think no, they are. Yeah.
my
It's good that you can use like the apps and stuff.
Yes, definitely. And my phone now, when I am away, it does tell you the different time zones if it is quite extreme ones. So that's quite good. Yeah. So I have
Yeah.
as well as my holidays, I have working holidays. So this is where I'm particularly going
Mm.
overseas for work. And then I make that a working holiday. Within that working holiday, I will have one day off where I browse the city or go around. And that works really well for me.
Yeah, that's good. And on some emails, you can when you put the out of office on, or it says something like, even though I'm sending you this, on their email signature, even though I'm sending you this email now at say 11 o'clock at night, my working hours may differ to yours, so I don't expect you to reply until you're back to work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's so important, that
Yeah.
out of office, isn't it? So
Yeah. So it's good to be able to put things like that in place. Yeah, brilliant. Right, okay. So yeah, I mean, I love the way you work, and obviously I've been a fan of yours for a number of years now. You're one of my previous mentors, and
thank
yeah,
you.
I've learned so much. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have set up the dog walking business mentor. It was
Yeah.
you that sowed the seed for that and told me to go
I
ahead
could just see
and
it.
do that. But I
And you're
do
like,
love,
I could just visualize you doing that. It's like the next for you. And I was like, yeah, go for it. Please go for it. Make you really excited.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're really great because you are a big cheerleader and a big supporter. So yeah, I do enjoy collaborating and working with you. So Helen, for any pet professional who's listening, knows their week feels a bit chaotic, but is not quite sure where to start, what's one small compassionate first step they can take after this episode to begin to create a healthier work-life rhythm?
So I would go back and look at your diary, whether that be on your phone, on a spreadsheet like me, and have a look at the amount of work you're doing and how many, and think of what your ideal work week would look like. So kind of jot down what your work
Mhm.
week looks like now, and then your ideal. Now, you're not going to get to your ideal straight away. So it might be that you're doing 3 dog walks on a Thursday and you'd like to move it down to 2 dog walks. Is it possible those Thursday dogs could be moved to a different day? So you might need to do a lot of rejigging, chats to your clients. I do find it's quite challenging to people who are a dog walker and a trainer. And I always get the inquiries where people say to me, I'd love to build up my dog training business, but I'm walking too many dogs. And I said, you've either got to reduce the dogs, change your schedule, or maybe get someone on board to, like I did. I got Tristan on board in the end because I couldn't do everything and it worked really well. So have
Yeah.
a look at your schedules and see if you can find the ideal and slowly kind of change things over.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. Love that. Helen, for anyone who's listening and would like to find out more about you or your work, where can they find you?
So my main business page for pet professionals is the Pet Professional Network. So my posts on there are primarily from myself and then collaborating with other organisations. I am on Facebook as Helen Motteram. That's my personal profile, but it is very much bird related. But it's quite cool because the posts I do are very much about well-being and your personal development, but with the birds intertwined in it because we're finding, oh, they get so much engagement. They kind of, spread the message. And I do some motivational posts because I do a lot of runs, as you can see. So, so Helen Motteram is on Facebook. And I've got obviously the Pet Professional Network page, my website, Pet Professional Network, and my website, Helen Motteram. So, and all the other stuff is behavioural and birds. But you're very welcome to follow that journey as well.
Brilliant. Well, I'll put all the links in the show notes for people to reach out to you. But Helen Motteram, thank you so much for joining me on the Pet Business Wellbeing podcast. I really love chatting to you today.
Thank you so much, Nathan.
You're most welcome. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Pet Business Wellbeing podcast with me, Nathan Dunleavy. If you enjoyed today's chat, I'd love it if you could share this with a friend. Subscribe so you don't miss future episodes, and please consider leaving me a review. It really helps me reach more pet professionals who need this kind of support. Until next time, take care of yourself, look after your well-being, and remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about building a business you actually enjoy being in. Bye for now.